Thank you for coming to watch Dr. Smith's video today. We encourage you to hit the subscribe button and the alert button. That way you can get notifications when he uploads a new video. Thank you for coming today.
So we hope you take the time to hear and think about, and if you have a book, read in the book about the concept and the topics that we talk about. They have a lasting effect. The intent is not necessarily to treat pain, but to make permanent, long-term correction with your whole family and your friends.
Thank you. Make sure you subscribe and hit the alert button. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Okay. Basically, the concept today is I'm going to give some tools to help you, if you choose to use them, will help you to lower your stress. Now, the reason I did this class is because everyone who I talk to and help have a number of different stresses, and some of them are lingering. They've been there a long time, and they've been there a long time because they have not done what they need to do to eliminate them. Many times people go to classes, seminars on stress management. This is not about stress management. This is about stress elimination, period. I believe that we all have stress. We always will. It will come to us in many different areas of our life. Sometimes people who come see me, like the day I had a lady and I asked her, what is your major concern right now? Because she had some new issues that were significant. She'd been doing real good, thought she was doing real good, but as I checked her, to me it was obvious that she had some new issues that were piling up. So when I tested her, again, it was obvious that she had new problems that were sneaking in on her, having a negative effect. And these tools help you identify them and eliminate them. But again, we have a continual stress from the outside. Think of the triangle. In the book, it's on page 27. Think of the holistic triangle. We have mental, emotional stress. And I believe right now for most people, that's probably number one. Followed closely by structure stress and chemical stress. They're very close together. And they eat away from the outside. We also have stress from the inside out. That's where we try to do too much. We try to figure things out, and we make mistakes, and then we punish ourselves for making mistakes. So, having said all that, I'd like you to take a look at this first worksheet. It's right from the book on page 155, and that's twice. I would like to have you think about this side only. And I'd like to have you right now take a few minutes and write down areas of your life that are important to you. Important. I'll give you an example if you'd like an example. A lot of people, when they fill out this, they will put words like family, work, education, finances, those kinds of things, health, or in some cases, sickness. A lady I saw the other day who listed 3 different health problems. So it's an area of concern to her. So take a few minutes, and I would like to have you, if you can, do all 8 of them. There's not a right or a wrong. And this, you can change it later if you want to change it. Truthfully, it's an ongoing process. My granddaughter just left, and for her right now, school, she goes to BYUI. So school right now is a big deal. She also works, and that's a big deal for her. Sometimes people include individual family members, husband, wife, child. Could be church assignment. Could be the weather. Anything that's stressful to you currently. I have one lady who comes to see me, and she's involved in a divorce. That's a huge, huge area for her.
Yeah.
Current. It involves some past trauma, which is a big deal. So prior trauma still going around. Okay, now when you get those filled out, then very quickly score them. I'll tell you how to score them. In the center of the circle, that would be a 0. And the question is, how is it working right now? How good or how bad is it? How much attention does it take? If you have if it's very poor, you give a lower number, like 1, 2, or 3. If that area of your life is doing very well, like you may have retirement and things are going really well, it could be an 8 or a 9. So score each one of them with a number, 0 through 10. 0 means it sucks, 10 means it's doing pretty well. Okay? Now the next step, we're going to do like you did when you were a small child. We're going to do a dot to dot, but you need to make the dots. So if you're on this wheel, if you had a 2, you'd put a little dot right down here where the 2 would be. If it was an 8, it would be way up here. A 5 would be right in the middle.
That's on the A?
On each one. So 8 for each spoke.
Okay.
Match the number that you scored. Say the letter as the word, the score is a number. Now you're going to put the number up on the wheel. When you get all the dots put on the wheel, then connect the dots, dot to dot. So you make a new dotted wheel. Now, if that were a wheel, how round is it? How smooth of a ride would you have if you were riding in a cart and that was the wheel? So when your friends say, "How's it going?" you can say, well, right now, it's a rough ride. If there's highs and lows. When you get them all connected, now the next step is to circle the 2 or 3 lowest numbers. If you had a 2 and a 3 and all the rest were higher, circle the 2 and the 3. Circle the low numbers. Maybe your low number was a 6. Whatever your two lowest or 3 lowest numbers are. Now, just so you know, this is not going to be turned in and graded. This is for your eyes only. Okay? Now, the next step is to go to the last column here, action steps. If you were to improve the area of the lowest numbers in 1 or 2 words or 3, what could you do as an action step? How could you improve that? Put down a word or 2. Now you're doing well. The next step is only for you if you want to fine-tune your progress. If you want to fine-tune your progress, you take your 2 or 3 low numbers that you selected to do the action steps for. What letter was it?
It was D.
D. So then you take D and you come over to this side and you write the word from D over here. That becomes on the a spoke extended with another wheel on it. And then you look at that one item and you further assess mentally what you could do, more action steps, and you list them down here.
Give an example.
I'll give you an example. I did one of these one time on my family, and I ended up with my children's names here. So it was enhancing my family. I have 8 kids, so I put my children's names down here. And they gave them a score. Now with 8 kids, you can imagine there's different scores. And that, I must confess, on our first child we practiced on. So at that particular time, this not Deborah, that's her older sister.
I'm number 2.
She's number 2. Her score was pretty good. The first score, Davelin, was lower at that time. So Davelin became the letter A, which gave her own wheel. So Davelin's over here and another wheel. So then I asked the question, what can I do to improve my relationship with Davelin? So then I listed some different things, like communication, how often, what kind. At that time she was having some financial problems with her life and marital problems with her life. So my challenge was, what can I do to help my relationship with her, which would in turn help her? That's what I did. Now I did another one, and I used Audrey, my wife, so enhancing my relationship with my wife, and so I listed the things that I could do to improve the relationship with her. One of them would be like decision making, where we live, the kind of car we drive, how we spend money, how we save money. We concluded by her making the big decisions, and I made the little ones. Like I would decide where we live, kind of car we drove, and she made the big ones, like whether we should go to war with Russia or China, the big things. Okay, now that is a tool that you can use if you choose to do. If you take the time to do it, it always helps. Now, I want to comment on what he just said to you. It always helps you if you do this, even if you only did it one time a year. If you did it every 6 months, it would help you. Even if you only did it and put it in a drawer, in a notebook somewhere, just the fact that you did it today and thought about it will make changes in your life. You'll make changes, especially if you're using the affirmation that I teach you. If it's going to be, it's up to me. I'm getting better and better every day in every way. The subconscious will start to do things with the list. And the questions about what we just talked about. Have you done that? Have you done that before? Have you done that before?
I think I did.
You did. You think you did, so you didn't keep it and work on it. I'd like to encourage you to do it. A pencil, so you can put it in your binder. You can do it again and again. Okay, now we'll go to the second project. That's the stress release worksheet. Now, this too is a tool, like a tool in your shop. You can use it or not. If you choose to use it, anytime, it always works. I'm going to go through with you. I'd like you to write on your paper on number 1, here on this corner, it says, adds life, health, and energy. These are things that you're currently doing right now in each of the 3 categories. For example, under chemical, you may put that you're taking protein powder. You may be taking the BFF. You may be focusing on the correct amount of water. So list some things you're doing right now that are good. Under structure, it could be you're standing tall, you're walking tall, you're sleeping properly, those kinds of things. Maybe you just bought a new pair of shoes that hold your feet in a better position. Maybe when you drive your car, you always tip your car seat so that you're upright, not leaning back with the head forward. So car seat posture. Okay. Under mental, emotional, things that you're doing right now. You may right now be doing forgiving everybody. You might be saying your prayers on a regular basis. With the temple, reading the scriptures. Those are the kinds of things that mentally, emotionally you're doing. or not doing. Maybe you're not watching the 10 o'clock news. You're not getting that. You canceled your subscription to the newspaper that has negative always. Now, why do I want you to do the list over here on this side in column number 1? I want you to do that because it's very important to know that you're doing things by choice on a regular basis. It helps you improve your life, health, and energy. I've mentioned before that I compare you to a bucket. Truthfully, your body is like a bucket. What we're talking about right now are hoses going into the bucket. Mental, emotional, spiritual. Another hose that's structure. Another hose that's chemical to keep the bucket full. Because in real life, we all have stress that drains us. So we're next going to list some of the holes in your bucket that cause your bucket to go down. So when we talk about real life is a combination of ongoing leakage from different stressors, and life is a combination of input, adding life, health, and energy. And it's important to be aware of that consciously so that you maintain the level of energy in the bucket. When we do the Ragland's test, when we test your blood pressure sitting and then you stand up, it's important that your blood pressure go up. If it goes down, then your bucket level is going down. And it's always going up and down all the time. That's life. We get more stress and we do things good. More stress, we do things good. It's impossible to have one hose filling up the bucket. We all have multiple hoses. We have multiple holes draining us out. And it's called life. That's the way life is. Okay, now let's go to box number 2. That's the big long one on the right-hand column. In box number 2, this is where you pretend your confession. You write down in this category things that you're doing right now or not doing that subtract life, health, and energy. For example, not going to bed on time, not getting enough rest. That's top of the list for a lot of people.
Which column would that go in?
Yeah, I was going to mention some problems are in multiple columns. For example, if you know you should be going to bed at 10 and you're not going to bed until 11 or 11:30, now consciously and subconsciously is whole. It's also chemically draining you. It's also structurally draining you. So you could have one stress that's on all three. And it doesn't matter where you put it, but if you put it on all three, you might want to say, okay, it's bothering me in all 3 areas. Which one is the greatest? Maybe you don't feel guilty for not going to bed. Maybe you just feel tired. You're weak, so it's a structural issue. Keep in mind, nighttime is when the body does most repair. A lot of folks age quicker, just like a road, just like a building. They age more rapidly if they're less maintained. And one of my goals is to help you as much as I can to maintain your body. Now, today you probably drove down the road somewhere and there was a sign that said, right lane closed ahead. And you get down there and the cars back up and it gets slower and slower, and now you have to wait. It takes you longer to get there than you thought it would. And in your mind you think, why don't they learn from the body? The body at night repairs. It shuts down active work and goes to work repairing. That's why I don't recommend you taking pain pills to sleep. Because when you take pain pills to sleep, your body says, oh, I feel pretty good. There's not a lot of work to be done. But there really is. So I recommend you only take pain pills at night if you can't get to sleep because of pain. Okay? So, have you listed some in each category? When you get more than a few in each category, these are the negative things again. We're ready to move on.
What's BNMJL?
At the bottom of the page,
Structural. Oh, okay, there we go.
bones, nerves, muscles, joints, ligaments. So commonly when I see people and they say, I have pain, one of my questions is, where is it? Is it does it feel more muscle? Does it feel more joint? How strong is the pain? Is it 0 to 10? Is it a 2 or 3, or is it 8 or 9? How often? So that gives me some idea of the structure of situation. I had a lady yesterday, I think she was 78. I said, so why are you here? And she said, I have a lot of pain. My next question, where? She said, everywhere, all over. So I said, do your fingers hurt? Yes. Does your knee hurt? Yes. Does your back hurt? Yes. Do you have a headache? Yes. So she had pain everywhere. And when I examined her for structural problems, I watched her walk, and it did my thing. I took her blood pressure and had her stand up. It was obvious to me that her pain was primarily mental, primarily emotional. That's the kind of pain she had. So then the challenge was upon me to determine what I could do to help her in the most effective way.
Seems like that's the one thing we don't want to hear.
What? How do we help them?
No, that it's mental,
Pardon?
that the pain is mental.
Well, when I said to her, I told her that. I said, I've assessed the whole package, and it appears to me that your main pain is due to mental, emotional stress. And I think the thing you need most above anything else is hope. And she said, yes, that's right. Because right now I have no hope. She's had multiple marriages. Some of them were very abusive. She has a very sick spouse currently, as it was going downhill. And so we had to come up with some kind of a plan to help her fill up her bucket. So we plug some holes and fill up the bucket. Now let's go on to box number 3. Box number 3 contains the words should, want to know. These are things that you've learned about, but you're not doing them. So list at least 1 or 2 in each category. Things that you could do, and if you did it, would help you fill up your bucket. We're talking now about putting another small hose in the bucket to help fill you up. You've learned about it, you haven't done it.
I think the want in that is key also, because it might just be something you want to know that you've known about forever, you just want to do it.
That's right.
And you're not doing it because of whatever.
And you go to start doing it, and it don't feel right. So you don't get much satisfaction from doing it, so you quit. And tell you, if you just keep going, then it will get better. And
That's right. And in my book, I talk about the deep hole principle. Many of the problems we have in life have been there for a long time. When we finally start to do something about it, to fill up that deep hole, you do things, you look down the hole, and you still can't see the bottom. It's so deep, so you quit. So that's the thing we don't want to do. When we keep doing what's we know helps, but we may not see or feel the immediate benefit. Okay, now we've filled out all 3 boxes. So what? What are we going to do? I'll give you an example. We're going to take something from this column 2, that's easy to fix. Circle it. Something from column number 3 that would be easy to start doing. Circle it. Now the hard part. You draw a line from box 2, circle with that item circle, down to box 3 to the item circle. It doesn't need to be in the same category. You can cross categories. And that's how you eliminate this stress and start doing this good thing for yourself. I'll give you a current example. My wife has a beautiful garden. She has a lot of beautiful flowers. Almost every day she goes out and looks for weeds. And she pulls them out. Sometimes they're big enough area, they will say, I need to go down to the nursery and buy a flower to put in the place of the weed. Now the weed can't grow anymore because there's not room for the weed. Does that make sense? That, in essence, so that's what we're doing. So next week and next month, Audrey can go out and look in the backyard with beautiful, beautiful flowers, and they're up here. They're flowers that are working. That's the idea. Does that make sense? That's how it works. Now, next question.
So part of that concept is you don't want to just stop doing something and create a void, because that void or vacuum will get filled with something.
Exactly.
So stop it, but choose what you're going to do instead of it.
And that's exactly what would happen in the garden. If I would just took out the weed, guess what would happen?
Another weed would grow in its place.
And that's what happens in your mind and your life. This is why people who make New Year's resolutions don't keep them. They try to do too much, too soon, and they don't do the pull the weed, plant the flower. They just pull the weed. Or they try to plant the flower, and there's no room. They don't have enough time. And that's a big problem for all of us is, well, I would start doing it, but I don't have time. I don't see how I can fit it in my life. So that I'd like to do it, but I don't have time. My mother-in-law used to be one of her main excuses. I don't have time. I would say, let me look at your watch. Yep, it's got same numbers on it that mine is, and everybody else's. We all have the same amount of time. This helps us prioritize and we eliminate stress. We start to do more things that we like to do, can do, to make us better and better. Now, as you become better and better, I would like to have you think of the triangle. Again, on page 27 in the book. If you were a healthy baby and the triangle is perfectly formed, equilateral triangle, but you can't walk, you can't talk, you don't see well. As you learn and as your brain and your body develop, the triangle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And our challenge is, as we get older, is to keep working on the triangle to make sure that it doesn't change shape. So a lot of people's triangles change shape. So instead of having an equilateral triangle, they may end up with a triangle that looks like this. That part of the life is not good. Because why? Because they're doing too much over here. So part of the goal is to go around and around the triangle and periodically use these tools to keep your life smooth and balanced. Okay, now let's go to the test. Choosing my stressors. Number 1. Deborah, would you mind being the reader? I may make a few comments as we go through.
Number 1, true or false? My mother, father, brothers, sisters, preachers, teachers, and friends have the greatest influence on me.
No.
I think so.
That's kind of a trick question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yesterday, one of my friends in class said, you need to put spouse in there. I said, well, your spouse is probably your friend, probably a teacher. She probably preaches to you. So, if you circle the words greatest influence on me and think about your life, the answer to that question changes.
Yeah.
Like my granddaughter was just here, college girl. Her prayers are very important to her. Now, if we were in elders quorum meeting, you would say, no, it should be God, not these other people. So, question number 1 may be true or false. The idea is to have you think about who has the greatest influence on you. Number 2,
Number 2, true or false? What others think of me is really none of my business.
true. Again, for you, what about for my 18-year-old granddaughter?
It's important to her.
It's very important to her, but really, truly, it's none of their business. 3,
True or false? Stress of any kind is usually bad.
Probably not. Some stresses move you to do good things.
I agree with you.
Exercise is a stress
Yeah.
with positive outcome. Potentially positive outcome.
So, is marriage stress?
Yeah.
Is it bad? Usually bad? No, it's usually good. Can be both. Can be either. So these questions are not concrete. Number 4.
Number 4, true or false? To succeed in reducing my overall stress, it is best for me to process the smaller issues first.
At least you're moving when you do that.
Exactly right. Now, again, yesterday I had a fellow who said, in my life, I want to tackle the biggest problem first. Well, I gave the example of an old patient I had who, in class, on this worksheet, he was a smoker. He smoked about 3 packs a day. And for him, it was a chemical stress. But because his wife wouldn't let him smoke in the house, she didn't like him smoking. It was mental, emotional stress. He showed me his worksheet. I looked at that and asked me, "What do you think about me stopping smoking?" And I said, "Based on where you filled out here, keep smoking. You're not ready yet. You're not strong enough. You're not strong enough to stop. Do the worksheet about once a month, and probably in a year you'll be strong enough, you'll have enough momentum, you'll be able to stop smoking." And that's exactly what he did. About a year later, he said, "Guess what I did? I quit smoking. And my wife is thrilled."
Number 5, true or false? Balancing my life by choice is an active, ever-changing challenge, which is best if assessed often.
True.
Number 6, choose. When I focus on blank, I make more progress. A, adding life, health, and energy. B, plugging holes. C, reducing stress.
All the above. All of the blue. A, B, and C. Okay?
Number 7, true or false? When goals are written, visible, and reviewed often, they are more likely to be achieved.
That's totally true. That's why this sheet right here, if you were to fill this out, put it somewhere where you looked at it periodically, just look at it, you would do better.
Number 8, true or false? The more universal laws that are known and adhered to, the greater my joy and health.
True.
Number 9, true or false? If it is going to be, it is up to me, is a false, stressful, and misleading affirmation.
No, that's false. That's,
So what do you think about that?
It's true.
that,
We have
that's
to
it.
do it
That
ourselves.
saying is true.
My mission president is to say, pray as if everything depends on God, and then go act like everything depends on you. My dad used to tell me sometimes, it's easier for me to do it than
Tell you how.
to show you how.
Yeah.
I mean, Hey, do it, and do it, and do it. Red light, catch on. Number
And
10.
having visions of a 3-year-old learning to load the dishwasher.
Yeah,
Just painful,
Yeah.
but they'll get it.
yeah.
Number 10, choose. I choose to review the concept of the stress release worksheet. A, weekly, B, bi-weekly, C, monthly, D, semi-annually, or E, annually.
So that's up to you. I've given you the tools, and I would suggest to you that, so like any other tool, the more you use it, the better you get at using it. So if you do this often, these two projects, you get better and better. And you will think about them often. And as you think about them often, in your subconscious mind, you'll make better choices over and over. And you do things over and over. Repetition causes them to be easier to do, not because the project is easier, but your ability to do it becomes better. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So I hope this is helpful and hope you can use it and share it. You can share it with anybody, anytime. You can apply it in different areas of your life. Any other comments or questions, additions? This is for you to read. I just saw this week in our, I actually was in our stake newsletter. I don't know where it came from, but I read it. I liked it. It fits in perfectly with our discussion today. A quote by Elder Holland.